Good evening, everyone. It's great to see you all. All right, well, it is my distinct honor and privilege to welcome John Quarton to Idea Box tonight for the final Idea Box of the semester. John, go ahead and advance the slide. Before we get started with the main event, a few quick reminders. Idea Box is an initiative within the HOEFT Technology and Management program to bring together this amazing community of students to learn from one another, to grow together, and to share our strengths. A few guidelines for tonight: commit to learning and not debating, listen to understand, not to respond, and what is said stays and what is learned leaves. We encourage you to turn on your cameras and participate fully, especially in your breakout rooms. And with that, I will turn it over to John.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ian. I appreciate it. Good evening. As Ian said, I'm John Quarton. Most of you know me as the director of the HOEFT Technology and Management program. I've been at Illinois now for 8 years, where my name is somehow magically transformed to simply JQ. Prior to returning to my alma mater, where I earned my electrical engineering degree in 1987, I worked for General Electric, or GE, as you may know it, for a couple of years in their anti-submarine warfare systems department. And prior to that, I worked for 25 years in information technology at State Farm, 5 of which were spent in the University of Illinois Research Park, helping launch the State Farm Research and Development Center. So I've spent the better part of the past 15 years here on campus, and I've met and I've built relationships with literally thousands of students, alumni, staff, faculty, and corporate partners. It's been an awesome ride, to say the least. I'm retiring from the university next month, and in the spirit of Idea Box, I was asked to share my expertise in cultivating a professional network. And I hope you leave the presentation tonight with some new ideas that you can put to good use. I'd like to know, how many of you attended the last Idea Box, hosted by T&M Class 26 member and rising senior, Helen Sun? It was focused on what you can do once you know your Clifton strengths. If you missed it, I encourage you to go back and watch it, and other past Idea Box videos. My Clifton strengths there are shown on the slide. So why am I here this evening? Well, if you can't tell, or if you don't pick it up during the course of this next 30 minutes, I'm super passionate about helping others take responsibility for achieving their dreams and their aspirations by taking strategic actions that create potentially significant win-wins. Before I start sharing my ideas and my tips, let's take a step back and consider the value of even having a professional network. You obviously see the potential value because you're here. You're all super smart. You all already recognize that having a professional network can help you further your career and your professional brand. It can help you improve your skill set. It can help you stay on top of technology and management trends, and it can help you keep a pulse on the job market. Having a professional network will help you meet prospective mentors and partners and clients. And it'll help you gain access to resources that will foster your personal and professional development. They're all very good reasons. But I want you to take away from this that professional networking isn't all about you. I don't want you to look at professional networking as a one-way transaction. That's just going to help you win. I want you to always consider how you can contribute value to a relationship. What can you do to help the person achieve their goals and their objectives? We've all got needs. So cultivate the relationship. Listen carefully. Offer assistance. And if you don't know how you can help someone, who do you know who could possibly help them? Always keep that in mind. How can I create a win-win through this relationship? At the heart of professional networking is building meaningful relationships and creating shared personal experiences. But it doesn't just randomly happen. like any successful personal relationship you've ever had, it takes time and it takes energy to actually make it work. So now hopefully we're all on the same page regarding why we're all here. So let's dive in. For starters, probably fairly obvious to those of you who know me already, I highly recommend that you use LinkedIn to manage your professional brand and your professional network. If you haven't already, create a high quality LinkedIn profile that stands out. You need to have a professional looking profile photo, a professional looking background, a personalized profile URL, a summary that highlights your top achievements. I encourage you to use images, documents, and links that provide more background about who you are and what you're involved in, and always keep an up-to-date and relevant work history. Now, I need to find a term I'm going to use at times throughout the rest of my talk. The term is hook, which in this context is something designed to catch people's attention. I think it's incredibly important to know and communicate your personal hooks. Each of us has a unique set of hooks. What's unique about you? What sets you apart from others? And what makes you memorable in a positive way? What catches people's attention when you say it? It's the kind of thing that makes people or makes other people react and say like, oh, that's interesting. Read the body language. You'll know it when you say it. And really important, what about you makes others want to add you to their network? I encourage you to tailor the hooks you share to the person or the people with whom you're meeting, and incorporate your hooks into your introduction and into your elevator pitch. For those of you in T&M, you're going to have so many opportunities to attend coffee chats, guest lectures, dinners, networking events, on-site visits with corporate affiliates, and of course, many meetings with alumni. For those of you not in T&M or hope to be someday, your clubs and your organizations likely host professional development events and information sessions with companies and alumni. I'm telling you, attend all that you can. These are truly gift opportunities to build your professional network beyond the students, the faculty, and the staff at Illinois. There is something you can learn at every one of these events, and the people you meet could be valuable additions to your professional network. Whether or not you think that where they work now, currently maybe somewhere you would like to work someday, I'm telling you, over the course of your career, chances are good that you're going to work at multiple places, and so will they. So one of those places could be a place you really want to work in the future. You never know. Next tip, do your homework in advance. If you receive a biography on a person before the event, read it. Look up the person on LinkedIn. Do you have any shared connections? Are there any recent events, articles, or posts that could help you form a really good question? Google the person's name and their company name. Put both in quotes, throw "and" between it, and it's going to really narrow down your search. Take notes. If you follow my tips tonight, your network is going to quickly grow to hundreds and perhaps thousands of people. Notes are great places to write down the hooks that people share with you that you can then use to reconnect or connect in the first place with them a little bit later. I take all my notes electronically, so they're searchable either on my MacBook, on my iPad, or my iPhone, and I use the Notes app native to Apple, so they are all available on any of my devices through iCloud. Yeah, I'm a bit of a tech geek. As of today, I've got 4,331 notes from just about every meeting over the past 8 years. Use whatever's easiest for you. I like to list the names of the people at the meetings. I like to, of course, put the date, the time, and I do that in a consistent way so I can search it more easily. If I'm on Zoom with new people, I like to take screenshots so I can put names with faces. And if you don't feel comfortable taking notes electronically in a meeting or an event, and sometimes it's not the most appropriate thing to do, summarize the major points afterwards somewhere electronically. So again, it's searchable. I'm confident that you'll find this to be extremely helpful to you in the future. This allows you to search on when you met someone and what you exactly discussed. Also, and sort of related to this, I save every email I send. That also becomes a hugely valuable tool, but email management is a topic for a future idea box. At career fairs and formal events, if you've got them, use them. Offer a business card if you have one, and ask for the person's business card. And on the back, after you walk away, jot down notes of anything you don't want to forget that could be useful to bring up again later, like their hooks. Could be a book that they suggested you read, an article, a podcast. It could be a video they recommended. The name of a person they quoted or suggested reaching out to. Could be a memorable story they told you. If they have children, they could have told you that, the number of children, their sexes, their ages. They may have mentioned a birthday or an anniversary that just happened to come up. Jot it down. Could be something they said that taught you something. That's really important to put down. Also, for those of you in T&M, always carry these business cards. If you run out, we'll find somebody to print more. And if you become a superpower networker, a friend of mine, Dean Nelson, he takes a selfie with each new person he intends to add to his professional network. I'm not there yet. Following the event or the meeting, whatever it is, it's time to do more homework. Send a thank you note to the speaker or to the guest after every engagement, ideally within 24 hours, specifically saying what was the best thing you learned or another highlight of your interaction. And if it's appropriate, an action item you're going to take. Also say in the email that you would be honored to have them in your professional network and that you will send them a connection request via LinkedIn. And that opens the door. In the case of a guest speaker, you might consider making a post on LinkedIn to share publicly what you learned, including a photo that you took, possibly with the speaker or the guest, and tagging the person and their company. That's a way to build your professional brand and publicly acknowledge the person and their company for their investment of time. And it creates a win for you and for the guest speaker. Win-win. Something else I very highly encourage that you do is invite everyone you meet to connect on LinkedIn. Now, whether that's through T&M, it's through clubs or organizations that you're a member of, and everyone you meet this summer during your internships or other professional development activities. I encourage you to take the time to personalize every LinkedIn invitation. Now, it's optional, but it sets you apart. And don't be lazy and just hit connect. Something else I like to do is look at your shared connections with the person you're attempting to connect with. Maybe mention one or two of them that you know well in your LinkedIn request. That person then could become a very strong personal reference. Also, make it easy for others to connect with you. Include your personal LinkedIn profile in your email signature. I've given you a couple examples on these slides. So let's briefly talk about power seats. This is a way to get noticed and to start a professional relationship. In classroom settings, definitely sit in the first row, never the back, and attempt to get as far up as you can and fill in from there. At dinners or at coffee chats, sit directly across from your guests. That's the optimal power seat to be in. Your second choice would be directly next to the guest, to their left or to their right. But try to avoid sitting 2 or 3 seats to the left or right of the guest, especially like this at a rectangular table. Why? They can't see you. And if they can't see you, it's not going to be as memorable as you follow up with it. It's just the eye contact. It's all the nonverbals that go into starting to create a trusting relationship. So at dinners or at coffee chats, I want you to make it a daily habit to read through your main LinkedIn feed and your group feeds and react or comment on people's posts. Now, instead of commenting, I sometimes send personal messages saying, I saw that you recently got promoted, or you changed jobs, or that you received a designation, or you finished grad school, or you attended a conference. You get the idea. Also, very importantly, there's a way you can help people in your network by sharing some knowledge or a resource, or by connecting them to a person you know. Is there someone else you know who could benefit from seeing this person's post? Again, it's all about helping others as well as yourself. Like caring for your plants, you need to grow and cultivate your network. You've probably heard the saying that your network is your net worth. Ida Lee shares that a lot. I sincerely believe it. I encourage you to make the investment and start investing now. Invest early and invest often. When you read an article or you hear a podcast or you see a video that may have been of interest to someone else, share it. Either with all of your LinkedIn connections if you think it may be of broad interest, or share it with a specific individual via an email or a message based on their hooks that they've shared with you. Include a short note when sharing with an individual, something like, hey, I saw this and it made me think of our conversation this summer during my internship. I hope you're doing well. I'd love to catch up when you have time. This can be an excellent way to recultivate a wilting relationship that could use a little help and a little tender loving care. So I hope that makes sense. Lastly, leverage your connections. When attempting to connect with someone on LinkedIn and you haven't received a response, look at your shared connections and ask one of them to let the person know that you sent them a LinkedIn connection. That allows that person to make a personal reference. It also allows them an excuse to reconnect with a person you're wanting to add to your network. And now you've actually created a win-win-win. A shared connection can also help you reconnect with someone on LinkedIn, and again, gives them an excuse to contact the person. Now, be cognizant that not everyone uses the LinkedIn platform every day. You can get a sense of how often a person uses LinkedIn by looking at their post activity. And you probably know how to do that. We'll include how to do that within our follow-up. If you don't see a recent post, a reaction, or a share, they may not be a frequent user. In that case, the best way to reach out is by sending them an email. And if you're already connected, while you may think you don't know their personal email address, you actually do. Look at their contact information on LinkedIn. There you'll see their email address, possibly even their cell phone number. And I don't recommend texting or calling them. If their email address isn't their work address, when you write them, tell them you got their personal email address through their LinkedIn profile, and then ask them to provide you their work email address and that you promise to use that in the future. So, all right, I've covered a ton in a short amount of time. I will be following up with some tips summarized for you after this presentation sometime the next couple of days. But now it's time for you to take some steps in building your professional network. You're going to be randomly assigned to a breakout room of at least a few others. And for that first minute, we want you, or first minute or two, I want you to think about a couple of personal hooks and how you could work those into a short introduction of yourself to the others that are there in your breakout room. And then I also want you to share a 30-second introduction or elevator pitch. I want each of you to do that. And I want the others of you who are listening to take notes while you're hearing them give their pitches and write down their full names of everyone in their breakout room, because you're going to need that later. Also, share with the others in your breakout room one thing that you do already to cultivate your professional network. Last thing, at least start developing and committing to 3 things you're going to do this summer to cultivate your professional network. Stephanie and Ian, I'll turn it over to you to make the breakout room magic happen. Very good. Well, I hope you found this half hour, to be a good use of your time. Creating a professional network should not be looked at as a daunting task or something to be really taken casually. It's about working purposefully to create meaningful relationships that will grow, and they'll get stronger over time, that benefit both parties. You create win-wins. We're going to follow up with a handout, as I mentioned earlier, that's going to summarize the tips I shared tonight, along with some links, maybe some tips for how you could use LinkedIn to do some of the stuff I talked with you about tonight. So that'll be an additional reference. One more thing I'd like to ask you to do, which again gets you into this habit of creating your network and building it. If within the next 24 hours, I'd like you to connect on LinkedIn with everyone in your breakout room. And I'd like you to apply some of the things you've learned at this idea box. For those of you in T&M, I'm connected to easily over 80% of the program's 995 alums, plus the 200 students that are in classes 25, 26, and 27. If you ever need any help connecting to someone, please do me a favor, reach out, let me know how I can poke them to see if I can't help them connect with you, and selfishly help me reconnect with them as well. I'm hoping to be a lifetime member of all of your professional networks. So if we're not already connected, send me an invitation. If we are, unless you disconnect from me, I consider us forever connected. And I'd be happy to assist any of you in the future. So just reach out. Thank you very much for coming. And thank you to the Idea Box committee for creating Idea Box and continuing to cultivate this outstanding addition to the HOEFT Technology and Management Program. Everybody have a good night. Take advantage of that reading day and good luck on your finals.
Thank you very much.